In our last conversation, we talked about why you feel behind everyone else. That quiet and constant sense that other people are moving forward while you're standing still. And most of you understood by the end of it that the feeling wasn't really about other people. It was about something going on inside you. Today, we're going a level deeper. Because once you understand why you feel behind, the next real question is, what keeps you there? And the answer, if we're being honest, is simpler than most people want to hear. It's your habits. Specifically, the small ones. The ones so ordinary and common that you barely notice them. There's a version of yourself you think about sometimes. Well, not sometimes, but every now and then. You get a clear picture of who you could be if things were slightly different. If you were more consistent, more focused. If you actually followed through on the things you start. And then you look at your actual day, how it actually goes. And there's a gap, a distance between that version of you and this one. And you can't always explain it because it's not like you're doing anything dramatically wrong. You're not making catastrophic decisions. You're just drifting. A little here, a little there. That feeling, that quiet frustration with yourself, it's the result of something very specific. And once you see it clearly, you can actually do something about it. So listen. Every single day, your brain is running patterns. These patterns are called habits. And a habit is just something your brain has learned to do automatically, without thinking much. It's the brain's way of saving energy. For example, if you brush your teeth the same way every morning, your brain doesn't have to make decisions about it anymore. It just runs the pattern. That sounds harmless, isn't it? But the same thing happens with every other behavior in your life. The way you respond when something feels difficult. The way you reach for your phone the moment you're bored. The way you avoid a task by doing something easier instead. All of these are habits. All of these are patterns your brain has learned and now runs on autopilot. Habits don't just shape what you do. Over time, they shape who you are. And this process is very slow to even notice. A man who avoids hard things every day in small ways gradually becomes someone who can't face hard things. Not because he decided to be that way, but because that's what his brain learned to do. This connects directly to what we talked about last time. When you feel behind everyone else, a big part of that feeling comes from watching other people seem more capable and consistent while you feel like you're struggling to do basic things. But capability and consistency aren't personality traits some people are born with. They're the result of habits. They're small, repeated actions that build a certain kind of person over time. The people who seem ahead of you aren't necessarily smarter or more talented. They've just built patterns that compound in the right direction. Your patterns are compounding too. The question is, which direction are they taking you? Now, most people, when they hear this, immediately think about the big habits. They think of exercise, waking up early, running, cycling, gym, reading, and dozens of other things. Well, those things matter, but that's not actually where this starts. It starts even smaller than that. Think about this. Every time you sit down to do something and it feels uncomfortable, maybe a task, a conversation, a decision, and you move away from it, your brain records that. Every time you reach for a distraction instead of sitting with the discomfort, your brain gets a little better at avoiding it. Every time you tell yourself you'll do it later, and later never comes, your brain gets a little more comfortable with that pattern. The fact is that none of these feel significant at the moment. That's the problem. A single cigarette doesn't give you cancer. A single avoided task doesn't make you a weak person. But the pattern, repeated daily across months and years, absolutely does. Psychologists call this the aggregation of marginal behaviors, which just means that small things, done consistently, add up to something very large in both directions. Small acts of courage build a courageous person. Small acts of avoidance build someone who avoids. So here's the one idea I want you to hold on to from this video. First, understand that your habits are not just things you do. They are votes for who you're becoming. Every time you do the hard thing, even slightly, even imperfectly, you're casting a vote for a stronger version of yourself. Every time you avoid it, you're casting a vote for the weaker one. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You just need to pay attention to which way you're voting consistently in the small moments that feel like they don't matter. Let's see what this looks like in real life. You have a task you've probably been putting off for 3 days. Or you've opened a tab, closed it, told yourself you'll do it after dinner, and dinner came and went. The weak habit is not avoiding that task once. The weak habit is the pattern that has developed around tasks like that one, where discomfort automatically triggers avoidance, and your brain has learned to make that move without you even realizing it. The stronger move is not to force yourself to do the whole task. It's to do the first 2 minutes of it. Today, you're training your brain to learn a different pattern, that discomfort can be approached rather than avoided. You have to do one thing today. Just one thing. Pick one thing you've been putting off. Not the hardest thing. Just one thing that's been sitting there, slightly uncomfortable, that you keep deferring. And do 2 minutes of it. Not to finish it, just to start it and prove to your brain that starting is safe. That's it. That's the whole practical step. Because the goal right now isn't transformation. The goal is to interrupt the automatic pattern. Just once. And then again tomorrow. You have to do all these things because you are someone who has developed certain patterns. And patterns can change. So for now, the question is, what one different choice, if made consistently over the next 30 days, actually makes you the person you want to become? Think about it. There's a resource in the description that can help you map this out clearly. It's free and it's practical. And if you haven't watched the previous video on why you feel behind everyone else, that's the one to watch next, because this one makes a lot more sense after that. Till then, stay positive. See you in the next one.